Hello guys, this is an update on the project I was working on the Infinity Engine project. As you can notice, I've changed some things. First of all, the camera is now following the player, except when you go on the GUI elements. Otherwise, the camera is following the player. This is because the specific game I'm making, it centers around one character. You don't control a party, but you can change if you want. You can have the free cam of the classic Infinity Engine games. But right now I'm using this camera. This is a lerp between the mouse position and the object that the camera is following, which is the player. I have point and click, as you can see, or follow the cursor, Diablo style, or action RPG dungeon crawler, I should say. Now, one problem with that, if the cursor is close, see, because the player isn't centered on the screen. The player isn't fixed on the center of the screen, and because it's a lerp. If the cursor goes really close to the player, as you can see, there's problems, and the player tries to move towards the cursor. I'm gonna work on fixing that, probably change the distance between the player and the cursor and then start following it, or make the distance analogous to the, make it like a ratio between the camera lerp, the camera twin, and the distance and the player. All right, I've added some things, I've added some more stats for you to understand what you're doing. The rules are not Dungeons and Dragons, of course. The rules are custom. I've made my own rules. It works something like that. I'll show you. All right. I have three derived stats. I have health, stamina, and clarity, something like mana. These derived stats affect how the player moves, and how the player acts. So what I'm doing is, right now you can see, for example, the attack stamina cost, how much stamina it costs to make an attack. Uh, it's literally the weight of the equipment you have on your hands. Like if you see the heater shield on the right, it says weight 2 units, and the sun sword weight 3 units. So combined, they cost 5 points of stamina. Even if you two-handed, the stamina cost stays the same. This is a test dummy. You can see the stamina depleting each time the character is making an attack. The character the character gets in an action stance, in a combat stance, as soon as they have a target. If I order them to move here, they'll maintain the action stance for a bit, and then after a while they'll chill. Okay, so 3 defense plans, still like I had. Evade, the character would try to evade attacks. I'll show you more once I've added the enemies. Again, I took the enemies out because I want to optimize them. Their state machines were a bit jumbled up, to say the least. You can evade, you can block, you can tank the incoming attack so that they don't interrupt you. Right now, I'm gonna press sneak, look at the character. The character is gonna kneel, as you see. It does a little kneeling animation. The movement animation changes too. Like if I order them to move there, and while I press run, still I haven't fixed that. Anyways, if I press for the character to run or sneak or run again, the character will go there. Something else. The FPS right now is pretty low because I'm recording. It's nearly 1,500 FPS without many actors. If I add actors, with 30 actors, it drops to about 300 FPS. Still pretty good. This is the way the game is meant to be played. 300 FPS for my laptop is pretty good. All right, I'm gonna show you some stuff about how the code works right now. So let's see. Sorry about that. The objects. Right now I have the player. with I've put a parent team so I can distinguish who is friendly and who is an enemy. Uh, so it runs two scripts: create actor, create player. I'll show you the scripts. And the step event, it's literally the finite state machine of the player. Um, pre-draw. Pre-draw is the base of the actor. The base of the actor is the body of the actor, the sprite of the body of the actor. And draw is the equipment that the actor has on. So let's see the scripts. Oh, first, initialize. All right, as soon as the game starts, you'll see I'll have many globals. Most of them I don't use either way. They were put in place when I started making the game. Uh, so, enums help a lot. Enums help a lot, guys. Um, Let me fold these regions one moment. Oh shit, sorry. So, I have lots of enums about everything, like appearance, for the character's appearance. I use them on grids, on the appearance grids, like what equipment the character is gonna have equipped. Or item info is the stats that you saw in the inventory, like you saw the weight and stuff. It's still on the grid. I'll show you how it works. Item name is the list of all the item equipment, like the player has. Like if they have a torso that is marked as an archer torso, uh, it it will go and read that from the grid. um, this is all the item enums. I have a lot of items. I have 655 items in the game, uh, and this is the item info grid. All right, this is the important part. This is the non-item. This is the item when you unequip stuff. Um, so let me get to like, all right, let me get to a weapon like the sun sword. All right, the grid for the item info has on the first value, it has actually the variable that we want here, and the next number is the number of the item in the list of all the items. Like the sun sword is number 580. If we go here, you will see, where is it, 580. All right, you will see it's the main censored one. I got 4 variations for each item. Right now I have only hard-coded like some basic items to actually make it work. Afterwards I'm gonna have to work on the items. So these variables are used in the function that calls for to draw the item information, like when your cursor is above the item. If the value is 0, it doesn't even draw. It doesn't even draw the function. The attack speed, for example, the attack speed for the sun sword is 120. That means once you do an attack, the next attack will be after 120 steps, or like 2 seconds, because the game runs at 60 frames. Attack bonus, it's pretty self-explanatory, and the damage. So uh, skills enum, so far I haven't put it. It's the skills that you saw at the bar to the bottom right, like if you two-handing the sword, if you're running, sneaking, etc. More skills will be added for the left side of the bar. This is the skill info that the tooltip will display when your cursor hovers above the skill. Right here, like if you press the block skill, you will try to block incoming attacks. All right. Let's see the state machine. Or, forgive me, let's see the create actor. These are the variables for creating an actor. And why don't I have that? Oh, never mind. Like the first thing is the state. The state is the state that's going to read the actor is. Neutral state is the state that the actor returns after an action. So let's say the actor attacks, he will return to the neutral state, which is idle. but if the neutral state tells them to be in combat, they will return in a stance position, in a combat stance position. Direction. The direction is there's eight directions from 0 to 7. It's the cross and the diagonals. This is the walking speed, the running speed, etc. The can move suites, like if the actor if an animation that doesn't allow them to move, like if they're doing an attack or if they're dodging, they can't move. I have the can move suites, which reads the animation the actor is currently in. It reads my animation. My animation triggers. My animation is it runs on every step. It reads it on every step, and if the actor is in one of these animations, they can move. Otherwise, the default is false. They can't move. Moving on. Pathfinding variables. These are pretty self-explanatory. I'm using a grid with an A-star algorithm, the default built-in in GML. Animation variables. All of this is used, almost all, I guess. All of this is used in the actor animation. So, for example, the idle, my idle. Remember when I told you about neutral states a moment ago? So my idle is what if the game tells the actor to return to a neutral stance, this is the animation that's gonna turn to. My idle changes regarding depending on the state the actor is at. I'll explain that more. Acting, this is important. My action and acting. If when you saw the player kneeling when I ordered them to sneak, they performed an action. That action was to kneel, and they entered the sneak mode afterwards. So if I tell them to do an action, they'll do the action. They will count it as acting, and when the action is over, acting will return to false. While the character is acting, their animation changes. This is what it is basically. When they go to acting, they do an animation that I've coded in. Right, these are the combat variables. I'll cover them later. Oh shit, I created a player 2 times. So this is the create player script. This is basically everything that the player object needs to read. We have the appearance grid, like what the user sees on their screen. If the player is, what color the hairs of the player are, etc. And what body they have, because I'm gonna have multiple body colors and forms, I guess. This is the sprite. I initialize the sprite variables, so this is where I order the play. This is the variables. These are the variables controlling what sprite the player will have on them. Like the base sprite is the body sprite. The main sprite is the main hand sprite. This is the off-hand sprite. The head equipment, the torso equipment, the torso armor, etc. The stats. So let me get here. These are the stats. The stats are an enum that was in the initialize script right here. I draw them from an enum here, and these are, some of them are, as you see, they have values already based on the basic stats, which are strength, agility, fitness, wit, and insight. And all the derived stats come out of these. These are the derived stats, and they come out of all these stats. Where are they? Shoot, here. As you see, we have a lot of stats for the character. For every nerd, we're going to satisfy every nerd and RPG player here. The attack rolls and damage rolls, and all these rolls are used in combat. My target, really important, and my engagement. These are really important because if the player doesn't have a target, it means they're out of combat, and the engagement is the engagement type, either melee or ranged. Let's see. The state machine of the player. All right, let me fold the regions because this is gonna take some time. We have some variables, some locals that we use here. Like if we want to call the grid, if we want to know the mouse's location. The ID is used in projectile so that the projectile doesn't collide with the character as soon as they create it. I'll explain more. So let's do the easy part. If my health is 0 below 0, my state means that I'm dead. The animation is dead, and that's it. All right. So direction. If the character changes direction for any reason, this is the script that gets the character direction depending on the angle. It changes the direction of the character, and here explain what direction they're using, one of the 8 directions. Movement, this is the tricky part. So this is how we decide if the character will do a point and click or they will follow the cursor. So I have a click life variable that if it's above half a second, it will start following the cursor. If it's below half a second, it's gonna create a path. This is self-explanatory, I guess. It's either goal, which is the path, or follow, to follow the cursor. This is the path end code, which just resets some values. If the character has doesn't have a target, what's he doing? What they're doing, and if the character has a target, they if they're inside their range, because different weapons have different ranges. It does some stuff. Execute after move is really just resetting some stuff. It's nothing more. The combat movement. The combat movement. I decided to go with the auto combat. So when the character has a target, it ticks for a path every 10 steps. Path tick max. How much was it? Let me see. Path tick max 30 steps. Every half a second, the character ticks for the next target if they change their target, and they will create a path every 30 steps. I use this because this isn't an action RPG like Diablo, or Grim Dawn. So this is an order command RPG. So you order the character to move towards that target. I still want to keep the Infinity Engine philosophy in that. Combat code. This is the actual combat code. This is self-explanatory. If I don't have a target, my target is dead. Set target to no one. So in the state machine, if the target is no one, the player returns to normal. All right, so let's see where exactly is the attack. All right, so there is a variable to see if the character is engaged in combat. This is a boolean. This is the part I'm working on to choose the stance animation. So depending on like, let's say for example, the sword that you saw, the sun sword right here. If the actor is one-handing, they will go to the idle general if their stance is that. If the actor is two-handing, they will go to idle general too. If the actor has an offhand, because I have some offhand weapons, their idle will be dual wield. And if the actor has a shield, it will go to the one hand OH and TH stance for one hand and two hands, respectively. It will go to the stance with the shield. So depending on the stance, the actor will have, depending on the state, the actor will have that stance. So where is it? Initiate attack animation. If I have a target, Calculate the attack cost. If the attack cost is below 1, in case your hands are empty and you don't have a weapon, your attack cost will reset to 1. Then it checks if it is within the range, if it has the cost. Let me get some space here, one moment. So if I'm within range and if I'm not moving and if my stamina is above the attack cost and if my target is alive, this is a lot of logic. Then again, I need it. So basically it checks first if it's between the target and if the steps until the attack are 0, which is basically telling the actor that they can attack, and I'm not acting, I'm not doing an animation, I'm not in the middle of an animation that doesn't allow me to act. You choose attack animation. Regarding the attack animation, it sees what weapon is in the main hand and it does that attack animation. So let's take the sun sword again, the weapon that you saw. So if the weapon is one-handed, it will choose between these animations, these 3 one-handed animations. If you're two-handing the weapon, there's two two-handing animations. If you have an offhand, right now there's only one dual-wield attack. And if you have a shield, it will still choose between the one-hand animations. Right after it chooses the attack animation, it actually gets in the state of attack. It tells the actor to regard as if acting. The action that it loads is attack animation that you chose. The animation is the action. And the state is regarded as attack. So how does this work? Where is it? Oh shoot! It's right. I'll see it in a bit. I'll show you in a bit. Anyway, so if the character is acting, like we told them here to act, and if my animation equals my action, which the action is the attack animation number that we gave them. So if I'm acting and I'm doing an action, the action is always an attack. So it's a type of attack. Like if you're using a skill, if you're casting a spell, the action is always an attack. This variable, my action. So if my animation is an action, ping pong frame is used in the animation. I started making this engine before animation curves, and I had to make, like many of us, I made my own animations, and these are the animations I have. For example, let's take this animation. Ping pong frame is the frame that you actually see. So this is the first sub-image of the frame, the second, and the third, right? So ping pong frame is in what step I'm on of the animation curve. Because I do not, or because I have, I want the player to have anticipation frames. I have two anticipation frames and 3 attack frames. This is a safeguard. As you see, if I pass the 6th ping pong frame, the animation will end. It returns the sub-image. Frame 1 is when you order an animation. I will show you. Frame 1, when you order an animation, let's say the starting sprite of the animation is the 100th sub-image of the sprite. I will enter in the code, I will enter animation this, and I will enter the starting sprite, the 0 sub-image. It will be better explained later in the animation. So let's go back to attack. It loads an attack, it regards him as attacking. It loads an attack. This is a safeguard. The attacking is a safeguard to have only one attack, not multiple. So if I'm the ping pong frame 5 in the animation frame 5, and if my attack frames are maxed out and I'm not paused, because if the game is paused, if I hadn't put that, it will still continue to do more attacks as the game was paused, because it may be paused in this exact frame and it would be an exploit. If the game is not paused, regard me as attacking. My attack roll is this. My damage roll is this. These are functions. These are basically functions of rolling the dice. I have a D10 system. I'm not exactly convinced about that yet, so I don't know yet. Do the attack, calculate the attack roll, calculate the damage roll, and calculate my reduce my stamina. Then reset the attack steps. Then regard my target as being attacked and do this attack roll. And if the attack roll passes, it will do this damage. This will be on the target. And the attack frames are reset to 0, which means it will return to the idle animation, because this is the same for the ranged, because if the attack frames reach 0, it means the animation has ended. Defense plan when you're under attack. There's 3 types of defense, like I showed you: evade, block, and tank. Evade and block pull you out of any animation you're doing. Tank is the option to just absorb the damage, just take the damage, don't even try to evade it, and you just continue doing your attacks. So if you want to be a tank and continue hitting them, you will do that. If you want to block the attacks, you will choose to block and evade. It's pretty self-explanatory. So how the animations work. This is the important part. This is everything. Finite animation. Finite animation, it means that the actor is starting to do an animation, an action animation. So if acting is true, get the frame data to 0, which is like reset the frames that we use in the ping pong animations, and so that you can start from the beginning, because it's just a safeguard. It isn't needed very much, because at the end animation end, I still reset them to 0, but it's just a safeguard because you never know. The character may be moving for all I know that the moment of doing the action. So you reset the frames to 0 and you start the animation loop. And if the animation is complete, it will reset some other values that are used in animating. Finite animation is the bread and butter. This is a neutral state priority. So, like I have some effects on the ticker, like on the actor, if the actor is held like paralyzed, if the actor is sleeping, it treats the neutral state as held or asleep, or else the neutral state will return to idle. And if the actor is below health, it will regard them as dead, which is over here too. And as I see, it's not needed because this script runs only if the health is above 0, so this must be pretty useless. Oh yeah, I remember now. I had this in the begin step event, that's why. Then I realized that it's not needed there. So, regarding the state machine, the actual state machine, it reads the myState variable, which changes if the actor is attacking, or the actor is blocking or evading, etc. If you see, my state here is actor state attack. So if it reads that the actor is attacking, it doesn't do anything because it does not affect them. So, but if there is, like, for example, the actor is engaged, right? If I'm idle and the actor is engaged, so if the actor is not moving and is in combat, it will see if the actor is sneaking. It will do, if it's not in combat, if the actor is sneaking, the animation will be to crouch. That's why you saw the actor crouching and then staying in kneeling. Or the default animation is this idle. Now, if the actor is idle and is engaged, their animation will be my stance, which my stance changes, as I showed you before, regarding the weapon and the hands. And this is pretty much what animation the character will have when they're in a state. So the animations, oh boy, this is the hard part. This is the heavy part of the code, because this is where you do the animations. Like if I'm if the character, if the actor is idle, the animation speed is how fast it will alternate between frames. So if my character is idle, do the ping pong one animation starting at the 158th sub-emotes of the sprite. So I have 4 sprite sheets for body, for the body of the character, for one body, 4 sprite sheets for one body, 4 sprite sheets for one sword, 4 sprite sheets, because there's 8 directions and there's 78 animations. So they're pretty spread out. Most animations are between 3 and 6 frames, but we have some 8 frame animation, some 8 frames animations, so we use them too. Like, okay, let's get back here. Actor animation idle. If my animation is to be idle, the animation speed is 4, and do this animation, ping pong 1. Ping pong 1 is basically doing first frame for a couple of frames, first sub-emotes for a couple of frames, then the second sub-emotes, then stay at the third, then return to the second, and then go back. So ping pong 1, it is this that I just showed you. It's this. It tells them to do this. First sub-emotes, which is always 0. Second sub-emotes. First sub-emotes, 0 is the amount of sub-emotes we will add to this sub-emote. So this animation starts at 158, right? Case 0 is the direction is 0, so it's practically hard right if the character is facing right. If the character is facing right, do the ping pong animations, and it's starting from the frame 158. 158 shows the player, shows the body of the player facing right. 159 shows them inhaling, and 160 shows their inhale at their maximum. So, sorry. So do not add a frame yet, do not add a frame, then add a frame, then add 1 frame again, stay at that frame, then go back 1 frame, and then it resets. Because as soon as I pass ping pong frame 8, it resets. And this is the animation speed that I'm using. That's why it's 4. It's pretty slow. Ping pong 2, it basically alternates between, you know, these frames 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, and 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Like I said, when I'm saying 1 and I'm showing 0, it's because the first frame is the frame that we've inputted here. This is pretty much about the animations. So if you wanna see me scrolling down, we got many animations. Many animations. And the sprite assignment. This needs to be real time too. There's different sprites for male and female because they're holding their equipment at different heights and stuff. So if I put a male animation, a male sword on a female actor, it won't display properly. They may not even it may not even show it holding it in their hands, the sword. So if my animation is between these numbers, choose the first sprite sheet. If my animation is between these numbers, choose the second sprite sheet, etc., etc. And these are some animations that I've added later, and I do the hard fix here. This is for the base, the body of the character. Let's see the weapons. It sees the main weapon of the character. Like for example, if I have the bow, if I am between these animations, do that sprite. If I am between these animations, choose this sprite to display as the bow. And this is for the offhand and the back, etc., etc. So this is pretty much it for the state machine of the main character. I don't want to bore you anymore. This is really customizable. This is commented out, so you can add whatever you want. It's not that hard. Uh, I have some monsters too. I have them here, but I'm not ready. I haven't saved their state machines, so I'm not ready to do that to add them yet. I've only added the dummy for testing purposes. And I'm gonna show you a bit more about the game, and I'll probably end this video right now. It isn't very heavyweight, to be honest. I'm trying to make it as optimized as possible, uh, so please bear with me. All right, let me open the inventory. Uh, let's equip the bow, put on some clothes. As you can see, let's take direction 4, for example. Direction 4 is hard left. So it draws the base, which is the body of the character, then it draws the weapon behind the character, then it draws the clothes, the hair, the legs, etc. And the cursor changes if you're if you're in range mode, the cursor will change. It will generate an arrow. I don't know if you can see, there's an arrow right here. And if we do that, if we two-hand it, the cursor changes again to the sword because it's using a sword. So yeah, anyway, this is it. This is what I've done so far. I'm gonna work on optimizing the state machine of the monsters and the NPCs. So I'll do that and get back to you later. Thank you guys for watching. Have fun.